NIO will be reporting their earnings before the U.S. stock market opens on Tuesday, March 5th. This will be an interesting one. It could be a surprise to the positive for NIO, but more on that in a minute. First, I've got the link and the site pulled up. I'll drop the link rather in the description. I've got the site pulled up for NIO so that in case I'm not able to live stream it and in case Marcel or someone else isn't covering it, you'll still have the option of, getting set up or signed up and listening in on your own. I hope to do something with it, even if it's just listen and even if I can't do a live, but I'll review the transcript at the very least and come back and share my thoughts. More on what I'm thinking about the earnings in just a minute. This is the poll that I set up several days ago, and I knew this was going to end right before the earnings, basically the day before, which is why I wanted to now talk about the results. But actually, the thing that maybe stood out to me the most is not even in the results. I'll explain in a second. This was me asking if people thought that Citadel shorting NIO or NIO stock has no impact on the stock, a small impact, if it's decimated the stock, or if it's helped big money buy cheap. So the results are over here on the right-hand side. But I actually want to point this out. There were 5,831 views if the Twitter algorithm and this data is accurate. And then according to the same data, only 195 votes, which tells me that a lot of people didn't even vote, either had no interest, maybe weren't even familiar with NIO. So I think that's interesting. Is that maybe a nod to NIO not being well enough known yet? And this is a nod to the first major growth phase that I talked about for NIO. That's market awareness. The brand has to be known if it's going to be a global juggernaut in the future. So we're obviously still in this first phase, this first major growth phase, as I identified him. But now let's talk about the thing I'm most curious and kind of excited to follow up on or listen to and see if this analyst follows up. This is the analyst from HSBC, Yu Qian. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Somebody correct me if I said that wrong. She's the analyst from HSBC, and this is from the third quarter earnings. And she said, thanks, team. This is Yu Qian here. Again, if I'm saying that right. I got two questions. Maybe we read it one by one. The first one is on the cash position. We noticed the cash balance increasing quarter on quarter. Other than the strategic investment in the convertible bond, there is also still a 1 billion increase. Does that, or is that coming from the improving operation? Can you shed a little more light on that? Now, this caught my attention because she's the only analyst out of all of the folks covering NIO who caught this and brought it up. Stanley, the senior vice president for finance, said, hi, this is Stanley. As said, the new product delivery ramp up in quarter three, we achieved a positive operating cash flow. Going forward, if our sales continue to grow, we are confident to realize the healthy operating cash flow. So that's for your first question. Yes. Okay. I want to know if she's going to bring this up again. I hope she does a follow-up, and I want to know what it looks like. I hope other people will be paying more attention to this now, because I can't believe that only one analyst out of everyone covering the stock caught that. And that's actually the first thing that I have on my ticker down at the bottom, the Aaron, basically what I'm watching for, the NIO earnings. The first thing is that profitability teaser. I want to see if we get another one, and kind of to follow up, and this is in tandem with that or related to that, the margins. NIO had about 5,000 fewer vehicle sales in this quarter versus the last quarter. However, the margin should be improved. So will it be enough to offset and again, sort of indicate that we'll get this profitability teaser, basically, is what I'm wondering about and looking for. I think that's the most interesting thing. The other piece of that is other revenues. Basically in the past, when NIO has reported their revenues, they basically show EV sales and then other. The other is going to continue to grow. And I think it's just a matter of time before that is a very, very big, healthy piece of revenue on its own. But I don't know how much longer that takes. I don't know how many things, both on the margin side, but also on the increased revenue side, are going to come through in this earnings. So those are all things I'm watching for. The final thing is the same thing I've been tracking for several years, and that's the balance sheet. I want to make sure that NIO is maintaining basically the ability to continue to operate with plenty of cash and a healthy balance sheet while they're continuing to expand and invest. I do not want them to stop investing. I think this is a company that has a huge global potential footprint. I want them to build out to that. That's one of the important pieces for me with the whole view and overview of this company. And I think it's so early that it's just wild to me that shorts have been able to get away with what I think they've been getting away with. And You know what? This is kind of a final thought, but it ties into that. The first 10 minutes of the trade day today. Now, this is Monday, March 4th, as I record this, and it's almost the end of the trade day as I record this. But the first 10 minutes of this morning, when the US stock market was open, there was at least 3 million of volume, and it was negative or selling pressure in NIO stock. Now, you can't convince me that that was not a big money player selling. Whether they're playing with the stock or not, I have a hard time believing that a retail investor or several retail investors would have all been selling the first 10 minutes of the trade day right before earnings. I just don't believe it. So if we had that roughly at least $15 million, and it would be more than that, I'm not doing the exact math, easily $15 million of selling pressure to start the day and set the tone. I also noticed, and I mentioned in a recent video about sometimes I've heard that shorts will target like a basket. So, for example, if EVs are being targeted, and if Chinese stocks are being targeted, and if NIO happens to fall into both, how much more are they being targeted and suppressed and shorted? What are your thoughts? Drop it in the comments. Have a great day. I can't wait to see and hear what these earnings are going to look like. I hope it's a positive to the upside. I am leaning in that direction. And the short-term stock price action does not deter me a bit, but that's just me. I'm not an advisor. I'm not an attorney. I don't want to be any of those things. I'm a guy sharing a little of my research and having fun doing it. Thanks. Have a great day. We'll see you all again very soon.